Now we need to talk about the tale of two teens in Wisconsin. So this girl right here is Chrystul Kizer, and this dude right here is Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, Chrystul, she was a 17-year-old girl. She's in her 20s now. But at this time, she was a 17-year-old girl in Wisconsin who unalived the man who was raping and trafficking her. She is now convicted and she just got sentenced. Kyle, 17-year-old boy who purposely went to a protest and then unalived two people. He got acquitted. The system, like Kasim says, the system isn't broken. It was built this way. This girl, who is now in her early 20s, is facing 11 years in prison. She was raped and trafficked as a teen. She took that threat out. She got rid of him. She made him expire. Kyle was perfectly is the justice system said that, he could totally have self-defense against these people. So he was acquitted. He is out living his life. This girl was trafficked. You see, the system isn't broken. The system is not set up for Black women, Black girls. It does not protect us. It protects them because the person that was trafficking her was an alabaster male. So this is when she was 19. Woman 19 is facing life in prison for unaliving a man who raped her and sold her for X. After judge ruled she could not use the law that shields ex trafficking victims as a defense. So she couldn't use that as a defense. And she, for whatever reason in Wisconsin, probably because she's a darker hued person compared to this alabaster male, she could not defend herself. Okay, let's bring it to current day. Chrystul Kizer sentenced to 11 years in prison for unaliving man she said actually trafficked her as a teen. She was sentenced to 11 years in Wisconsin State Prison after she pleaded guilty to second-degree reckless homicide in the unaliving of a man who she said trafficked her as a teenager. Court records show that Kizer, now 24, was sentenced Monday to 11 years, followed by 5 years of supervised release. She must submit a DNA sample to authorities and attend a restitution hearing later. She pled guilty to reckless homicide in May, ensuring she would not have to go to trial and avoiding the risk of a potential life sentence. These people, the prosecutor and judge, thought that she was so invaluable that they just needed to get this off of the books and get them, scoot them out of the court. How many people are in jail right now because they knew that there was a possibility of life in jail versus, serve some of this sentence and then get out? The way the way women are jailed for defending themselves, especially when it is against an alabaster male or just, protecting themselves in a DV situation, is so egregious in this country. Okay, one of her public defenders did not immediately respond to a voicemail message seeking comment on Monday. Kizer was 17. She was a child, 17 years old, when she was accused of unaliving Randall Voller III in 2018 before setting his body on fire. She was initially charged with first-degree intentional homicide, but she argued she was legally allowed to unalive him because he was actually trafficking her. Kizer was 16 when she met Volar and alleges that he had SA'd her multiple times. The prosecutor's office has confirmed it was working on a case against Volar at the time of his death. But prosecutors also said Kizer didn't give any indication at the time of the unaliving that she was trafficked by Volar. She said in a 2019 interview with the Washington Post that on June 4th, 2018, she went to Volar's home with a pew-pew in her purse and said that she said that her boyfriend gave it to her for protection. Kizer alleged that while she was there, Volar gave her a drug and the two decided to watch a movie. They began to fight after Volar began touching her and she refused to have sex with, it says her, but I'm sure it means him, she alleged. She alleged in her interview with the Post that he pinned her before she pew-pewed him twice. And then she set Volar's body on fire and fled in his car. I just thought that I didn't want to do that stuff anymore because I was trying to change. Kenosha DA Michael D. Gravely accused Kizer of premeditated murder, alleging she planned to steal Volar's BMW, according to the NBC affiliate of Miss Milwaukee. She had a legal victory in 2022 when the state Supreme Court upheld the ruling that she could argue she acted in self defense under a state law that allows victims of trafficking to present an affirmative defense for any offense committed as a direct result of being trafficked. Kizer was released from prison in February on a $400,000 bond when she fled the state, violating the conditions of her bail. She was caught 2 weeks later in Louisiana and was returned to Wisconsin. Gravely told reporters after her sentencing that he was happy in a sense that the case had finally been closed without the unpredictability of a trial. I guess on some level I'm happy, but what I want to have happen is for people who are related to Mr. Volar and the people who care about Chrystul Kizer to all get closure at this point. So he's happy he didn't have to go to trial. This was a girl whose childhood was stolen. Her childhood was stolen. She was a victim. She was re-victimized in that she was trafficked, and she took out that threat because this person was a terrible person. But now he wrapped it up easily. Yes, I don't have to go to trial. It's not messy. This person did not deserve to breathe any more air. He didn't deserve it, and he was harming people. I'm sure she wasn't the only victim, but he got to close it up. But this girl gets more of her years stolen because the state doesn't care about Black women and girls having their bodies used and abused, because this country is built on the abuse and stealing of resources and bodies. And it just goes back to how this country was formed and founded. But let's go back to Kyle Rittenhouse, because he wasn't trafficked or anything. He didn't have to be at that protest. Him and his mama chose to drive over there with a pew pew. This boy, who is now a man, did this on purpose. And he wasn't in imminent danger until he took his body over there to be in imminent danger. Please tell me why these people are treated differently. I think we all know why. He has the complexion for protection in this country that was built and made for him by people who look like him, who did precisely what happened to this girl. And I'm going to reiterate what Kasim says. This system isn't broken. It was built this way, and is going to continue to be built this way. And there needs to be a lot more outrage for Chrystul Kizer, because what is happening to her is egregious, and this state keeps stealing more of her life versus helping her get some rehabilitation. Is choosing to re-victimize her. Please share her story. If you're a content creator, make some content on it, share her story. I don't know what we could do for her, but this is just not right. It's egregious.